validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. Trying to get things started. I was sitting, I got lost track of time. I was sitting in the chair like, damn, I was supposed to start 15 minutes ago. All right, so look, y'all, I just heard some stupid stuff, and I really hope it was AI. Did they just name the ducks? Instead of Canadian ducks, Donald ducks. These folks are wilding out over this Lake Ontario, Lake of America thing. I'm trying to tell y'all, I have been having a blast with that. I didn't verify that as official, like they're renaming the Canadian ducks to Donald ducks, but I'll do some digging on that, and I'll let y'all know tomorrow when I have to verify if that's a spoof or if they really did go that route, because AI is something else. When I see something that don't look like that's something legitimately something that they would do, I gotta go back and verify. But I seen it and I was like, bruh, they going ham. But anyway, y'all, we here on This and That, we go live 7 nights a week. We do not let the sun rise without going live, but we don't always start on time. Today we're about a half hour late, and that's why we ask you guys to like, subscribe, mash the reaction buttons while you're here. Hit the notifications before and after the show so that you guys can be updated on all the shows that we got going on. We have an archive of videos on YouTube side of things, well over, I think, 1,500 videos where we give you guys all the detailed information that you need to be successful. We also ask you guys to go take a look at the membership over on the YouTube side of things, because we're releasing content every night of the week, to give you guys more in-depth information about what's going on with the topics that we cover. And since we cover different topics every night of the week, we have Sunday questions and comments from the fans. Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, we talk about business and politics, where Monday we talk about how politics negatively impacts your ability to make, save, and invest money. Tuesday, we discuss with you guys about how to make, save, and invest money, different ways to start up businesses, reallocate your funds. We give you guys a lot of information about how to make yourselves more financially successful in a lot of different ways. I strongly encourage you guys to work your ways into being digital nomads, because if you work for yourself instead of working for somebody else and you stabilize your income, you have a guaranteed income that can work anywhere there's internet, where now your travel plans are to make sure that there will be functional internet, high-speed internet at the city, state, province, country that you're going to, which makes a lot more sense, where you can just take your job anywhere and make money for you. We also talk about investing, because as I've told a lot of people on the show, Joel and a bunch of other people, like whatever it is that you're doing right now that's making you good money may not be what you're capable of doing in 5, 10, 20, 30 years. You want to automate your scenario where you can remove yourself from the workload. That way the work gets done for you and you still get paid for it. So that when you reach the age where your physical body or your mentality can no longer support the job that you have, you no longer have to perform that job. Once you get to that level, you no longer have to support that job, right? And if you put your money away in a more effective fashion, where you have the capabilities of building a decent nest egg, you have the ability to retire early, where you can spend more of your life enjoying your future instead of working until you die. We cover that as well. Then on Wednesdays, we talk about different countries around the world that you can potentially live and also invest in. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Today is Saturday. It took me a while to figure out what day of the week it was, because I thought today was Sunday for the longest period of time. But today is in fact Saturday, and today would be the day that today, as well as Thursday and Friday, we talk about self-improvement, personal development, relationship topics, socialization, negotiations, building your brand. Then we talk to you guys about promotions, raises, retirement, forced retirement, severance packages, termination, and building your 20 and 30-year plan. I know that's a lot of information. I tell you this every day of the week, just in case you guys are new. And the reason why I do that is because I want you guys to understand that situationally, each topic has a theme for the day. I expect you guys to stay on topic. And then on Sunday, it's a free-for-all for questions and comments. So if there's something that you want to learn, if there's something going on in your life, anything in your life that is inside of your control that you don't like, that you need like a second opinion on how to conquer that, let me know. If there's something in your life that's outside of your control, or you think it's outside of your control, but you haven't really realized that you do actually have more control over than what you think, you bring that to my attention. I can give you guys some information about it. I ask you guys to write down your concerns, put them in the comment section, message me after the show, or save it for the topic of the day, and then bring it up during a theme topic. So if you want to talk to me about relationships on the day I'm talking about relationships, that's fine. You want to talk to me about relationships on the day we're talking about money, that's not fine. You want to save that. Yeah, on a day that I'm talking about relationships, you want to talk about money, that's not fine. You want to save that, because we talk about money half the week, we talk about relationships the other half of the week, we talk about fixing yourself on both sides of the week, and then, like I said before, that free-for-all on Sundays. So with that being said, today we're supposed to be talking about why the rich never use 0% financing, and we're going to be able to determine how you guys find yourselves getting scammed into or roped into signing up for these 0% financing situations. And it's really a marketing tool, but we're going to be getting into the details of how it negatively impacts you, and then what you can do to get out of it. So if you guys have any questions, today will be the day where we're talking about interest, bad interest. We're also talking about financing. So like questions are going to be kind of around that today, if you guys understand. So special shout out to everybody that's coming in on TikTok side of things. We got a couple hours for you guys. And then if you guys got something that you guys want to throw in, feel free. And this is a highly interactive podcast. So as I see your comments, I will try to address them if they're appropriately structured questions on appropriate topics, which means that today, since we're talking about financing, all of your appropriate topics will be about financing. So what if I told you guys that financing, 0% financing, isn't just for people who can't afford to pay in cash. And funny thing, financing is not for people who can't afford to pay in cash. However, people who already established their credit, already got a line of credit, but they don't have the cash on the day and they want to go and buy something, they typically use their credit cards. 0% financing is for approved credit lines only. And typically that is for individuals that are well over a 610, not 610, well over a 720, 750 credit score. That's usually the guys that benefit from 0% financing. But some people in like the 690 or 700 range might slide in there. You know, we're looking at like very few people have that. Like the top 10% of good credit has that. But any type of offer that is going to give it to people that have less than a 700 credit score, there's conditions as to how you qualify for that. But it's not just for people who can't afford to pay for stuff, right? So what if I told you guys that for some financially savvy people, it is a strategic tool to get ahead by using the bank's money for free? Because when they front you capital with no interest, that allows for you to pay for something now that you otherwise don't either have the money to pay for it or don't want to pay all of it towards it today, but you have the ability to use somebody else's money to receive the benefits of the service or receive the benefits of the purchase today and give them the money for it later, right? Now, this can happen with 0% financing on buying a car. This can happen with 0% financing for 6 months on repairing a car. And you understand that while 0% financing for buying a car isn't all that fantastic, because eventually that you're going to still owe money and the thing is going to be there, because they're going to say 0% financing for either the first 6 months or the first 12 months, and the other 6 years, you're going to be paying interest on that bitch. It is what it is. Some might say no money down for a number of months and 0% financing, which means that the interest accumulates for a number of months and then you start making payments. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about benefiting from, you ain't got to pay today, you got to pay later, but for a period of time, you're not going to have interest. That's why I say, you know, $5,000 or $7,000 worth of car repair, snap financing will give you 0 interest for the first 6 months. They break up your monthly payments. If you exceed the 6 months, you start dealing with an interest payment. But if you pay it off within the first 6 months, you don't have the interest payment, stuff like that. So you get your car back today, even if you don't have enough money for it. But if you don't pay them within the timeline, you start getting interest. But if you pay it off, like you get it today, you pay it off in 2 months, you're driving your car and you're paying on the loan, but you're not paying any interest. So you get extra money for free. ISD KFC lover. So since my man dove into the comment section like that, I'm gonna say on TikTok side of things, I might see you ask for an invite, but I will not bring you in simply because you asked me to. I'm not gonna bring you in simply because you gave me 500 likes. I'm not a normal TikTok channel. This is a live podcast from multiple different platforms. If you positively participate in the comment section towards the discussion, and after being appropriate for an extended period of time, I have the confidence that you're not going to act a fool on the podcast, then I'll bring you on the podcast. But if you simply request that I bring you on simply because you asked for it, I'm going to completely ignore that. If you give me 1,000 likes, which I expect you guys to mash reaction buttons while you're here, hit those heart buttons while you're here, show support for the knowledge and information that I'm providing you. If you want to listen and hang out, that's fine. If you want to comment in the comment section, that's fine. But in order to have a co-hosted scenario here on TikTok, you have to contribute to the topic positively before I bring you on. Otherwise, you're not coming in. And I kind of feel like that's going to be the narrative, even when I transition you guys, get the stream key, transition you guys into the TikTok, the YouTube side of things. Even on YouTube side of things, if I don't recognize the person that's requesting to come in, they're not going to be able to just jump in just because they clicked the link, approved the mic, approved the camera, came on. They're going to have to put a couple of comments into the comment section. I'm going to have a little bit of confidence in what they got to say and then bring them onto the show. So long-standing members like Steven, Michael, Dylan, Aztec, OG Kicks, Unc, Andy, people to that effect, Special shout out to Uncommon Woman, Blessing Xander. I really appreciate you. Blessings to you. Individuals like that that's been coming to the show for the last 6 months consecutive. People who've come to the show for the last 2 years. Those are individuals that have established a level of confidence. They ask to come in, I'll put them on. But somebody that's new to the show, I'm not gonna mess with it. Because we got a lot of information for you guys, and I want y'all to learn. If you don't want to learn, you don't have to hang out here. But if you want to learn, I want to make sure that you guys have all the information that you need to do your own research and be successful. Okay. So just that was a disclaimer for the people on TikTok, since TikTok is not used to this. We've been here for a while, but we've only been doing it consecutively recently for TikTok over the last few weeks. But we've been even on TikTok since like 2023, 2024. We just stopped when the government locked up TikTok, and we didn't come back until the government owned TikTok. So we took like a year off from TikTok, and now we're back. But we've been live the whole time, just not on TikTok. So I just wanted to give that disclaimer real quick. Now, as for today's main topic, because we're supposed to be talking about 0% financing, most people might see a 0% financing offer and do one of two things with that 0% APR financing situation. They either run from it thinking that there's a hidden catch to it, or they fall right into one by buying something that they couldn't afford otherwise, which if you're applying for something, if you're applying for some type of financial transaction that has the 0% in it, some people actually, for another reason, run from it because they think they don't qualify. Because again, top tier credit scores gets 0% financing, unless you're, like I said, Snap financing has standard across the boards. If you get approved for a loan, they're going to offer you 0% financing out the gate. Certain credit cards that if you get approved for the credit card, they're going to offer you 0% financing as a promotional offer. But we think that 0% APR only qualifies for top tier, and then we don't even try to apply, right? But others, they just fall right into it, getting stuff that they can't afford. Like I told you guys yesterday, you might have something that you've got the money for it, but you really can't afford it. Like you might have the $2,500 down for a $20,000 car, but you don't have the $500 a month payment for it. Stuff like that. Which means that you put down the $2,500, you might have the 12 months no interest, or you might have the 6 months no payments, 12 months no interest, and then you still don't have the $750 a month on year 2 that you're going to be paying for the vehicle. And that is some of the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. The people who are good with money have a different playbook than that. They don't see 0% financing as a crutch. They see it as an opportunity, a chance to hold on to their most powerful asset, which is their cash. The common advice is to avoid debt at all costs. Michael talks about this on a regular basis. He says, like, cut up all your credit cards and go strictly to cash, but that's not the thing. Your cash, your transactions should be passed through, meaning that you only utilize on your credit card what you have the cash to pay back your credit card before the end of the billing cycle. You're not carrying debt from month to month. If your billing cycle ends on the 20th of the month, your billing cycle on the 17th should have like $2 or less as the balance. But if it rolls over on the 20th of the month, on the 21st, you can put 80% of the maximum limit of your line of credit back on your credit card. That's passing it through, because you're charging everything to the card, but then you're paying the card down before the bill is due. Okay? So you're still avoiding unnecessary debt at all costs. And you can pay, and some other people have the advice, like Michael says, pay cash for everything, especially for things like cars that go down in value, you know. But not always can you do that, because even if you wanted to buy a used car, $5,000, the average person usually only has $5,000 in cash in a lump sum. That's not emergency funds when they get their tax return. Some of the people that made the worst mistake and spent their tax return money on their kids' prom could have fix the cars that they owned, or buy a newer car, brand new cars for the first time in their life, owned a car that no miles on it, so that for the next 5 or 10 years, unless they get into a crash, they have a reliable transportation covered under a warranty. Where shit, with the kind of money they got in March and April of 2026, they would have had enough capital to go ahead and not only buy the car cash up front, but pay for the extended triple diamond platinum package warranty that covered all of the service maintenance for the extent of the car's warranty, which prevents you from having to do anything other than, I think, brakes and tires. That would have been fantastic, because you'd have tune-ups, oil changes, all that stuff covered. And actually, I think with the platinum package and some dealerships, because I went through Dodge, some dealerships even cover the tires. So really the only thing you had to do is change out the brake pads. Brake pads and rotors once a year. That's not a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money after you've paid for the warranty. See what I'm saying? So while that particular type of advice is well-intentioned, it's old school, outdated intentions, right? So it's not coming from a place of malice, but it doesn't fit our current lifestyle, and it misses the bigger picture of opportunity cost and liquidity. Two ideas that are going to be key to building wealth: opportunity cost and liquidity. So when you pay with cash, that money is now tied up in a depreciating asset. It can't be used for emergencies, it can't be invested into anything, and it can't be used to jump on a great opportunity. So on tonight's show, I'm going to show you guys the exact playbook that sophisticated investors are going to use. Okay? Now, you can do your research, cross-reference what I tell you guys, verify the information, but I curate these things extensively. Like right now, I'm organizing information for shows that I'm going to be covering in October. I do detailed information, do detailed research before I bring this information to the show. So you guys are going to learn how they leverage free money to grow their investments and why they are often reluctant to pay cash for large purchases, even when they can otherwise afford it. I'm going to be giving you guys a simple, hard rules that they follow to make sure that they never get caught in the traps that the average person is getting caught in. And by the end of tonight's show, you'll no longer see a 0% offer as just a sales gimmick, but as a strategic financial tool that you can use to your advantage. And I kind of want a side note. Isn't it funny that the average person panics and either impulse buys or runs with zero down, 0% interest, or whatever the case may be, when it comes down to really large transactions, like getting approved for a loan, getting a secure credit card, getting financing a house, financing a car, something like that. But you got no problem with diving on that crap when it comes down to getting you some J's, buying you something expensive, Chanel, Gucci, Prada, diamond jewelry. I see some of these young cats walking around with $70,000 around their neck, but they walk in. You ain't got money for the bus, but you got enough money around your neck and wrist to own a bus. I don't understand it. The double standard in y'all mentality is wild. But let's first take apart one of the biggest myths in personal financing, the idea that all debt is bad, because this is going to be a dangerous oversimplification. In reality, financially savvy people do not just avoid debt. They understand how to use it strategically, and they know that there are going to be two very different kinds of debt, which is consumer debt and strategic debt. Uncommon woman, you think that's funny? I mean, I've been paying attention to it. I've been paying attention to it. I seen what your boy named T-Pain was talking about how he got knocked off for $700,000 worth of jewelry. He started wearing cheap stuff. Tyrese, he was talking about how he don't wear nothing real no more because they robbed him of his stuff one day. It's just like, but they be wearing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. And the rap artists and actors that usually the minority ones are the ones that floss it. They're the ones that's wearing all of the expensive jewelry and stuff. Usually the non-minority ones might have on a really nice suit, some pretty decent shoes, but you don't see jewelry all over the place. It's usually the people out the hood that got rich quick. They got rich too quick. They're the ones that's like big ass diamond earrings, bracelet, watch, chain, pendant, big ass Flavor Flav pendant. Usually the ones that grew up broke. Now they got more jewelry on them than a jewelry store, and they got more money than the apartment complex cost that they live in, but they still live in a Section 8 apartment complex. They got more cars in the front yard than code enforcement will allow them to have. And all of those cars combined could have bought them a whole house, but they're still living in a Section 8 apartment complex. You know what I mean? They don't spend their money the way they're supposed to spend their money, but they will dive on any deal that they can get. A 24 karat gold herringbone chain necklace. They'll go grab that bad boy from the mall. $5,000, $10,000. You 18, 19 years old with a $10,000 24 karat gold herringbone chain around your neck, but you walking to catch the bus. You ain't even got enough money to pay your community service. Your probation officer looking for a payment. You between the jewelry around your neck and your ankle. I be trying to figure out what people's mentality be at. Because your gold chain could have paid you a private attorney and you could have got off that charge like OJ, but no, you got a public defender. You still got the chain around your neck though. I don't understand. They care about your stuff is fake. I'm sitting over here looking at them like I'd be damned if I waste $1 on that. I thought about it once. But what's the prestige of a $10,000 chain around your neck versus a $500 suit on your back? That'll VIP you into a building that chain won't VIP you into. I started thinking at a young age that I'm going to break stereotypes and I'm going to be seen in places that people like me don't never be seen, doing things that people like me are never seen doing. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I don't got that $5,000, $10,000 chain around my neck. I learned young. So let's look at this consumer debt, because consumer debt is going to be what most of us are going to be familiar with. It's going to be the high interest credit card balances for vacations, clothes, makeup, hair, nails, whatever women want that men can't afford, that a man will charge just to sleep with a woman, or high APR loans for lifestyle upgrades. High APR loans is going to be like cars, stereo equipment, rims, again, the chains, buying a house that you can't afford because you want to go from your 2-bedroom apartment to everyone has their own room, but not everybody has their own fucking job. So we're going to go from a maybe 750 square foot apartment to a 3,000 square foot house on a 2-acre piece of property that we go from paying like $1,000 to $1,500 a month worth of rent to paying $3,000 a month on a mortgage. This is what we're used to, lifestyle upgrades. We go from a 30-year-old car to a just came out last year brand new vehicle, where we went from owning a vehicle that has no monthly payments to a $750 or $2,000 a month car note plus a $500 or $700 a month insurance bill. That's the lifestyle creep that we put on high interest APR loans. This is the kind of debt that drains your wealth and creates stress. This is the debt that financial gurus tell you guys to avoid. It is absolutely supposed to be avoided, okay? But then there's going to be strategic debt. This is the debt used with a clear purpose, like acquiring assets to generate income or appreciate in value. Things like buying rental properties, things like buying a house for guaranteed security, because while renting is a little bit cheaper than owning and maintenance on a house and all of the extra insurances that you have to have, owning a house gives you guaranteed stable housing security. So you trade the convenience of responsibility or the lack of responsibility with renting for the privilege of guaranteed stability for ownership. You gain more responsibility for ownership, but you know that as long as you pay this mortgage, you're never going to get put out. You can pay your rent on time for 25 years. The property gets bought by a new management company, and the new management company evicts everybody off the property. You will lose your place and now have to find a way to qualify for a newer apartment. God forbid you were living in the kind of complex where they never raise the rent. Now you got to qualify for a higher rent bracket. Your income hasn't gone up, but now you got to go somewhere else. Ownership is an asset for you, okay? There are other appreciating values like investing in a startup. If you were buying cars to do a rental car company and you were leasing out these vehicles for a profit, if you were doing flipping cars at the auction where you buy the cars at the auction and sell them on the streets, it would be something that you will be doing to turn a profit. That's appreciating, either generating an income or appreciating a value. This is going to be where leverage can be a powerful tool. Now, successful businesses and investors use this kind of debt all the time, whether it's to expand a company or to purchase income generating real estate. The real difference isn't the act of borrowing itself, it's the intent behind borrowing. The average person asks, can I afford the monthly payments? And when you think about it, if you remember the last time you went to a dealership and you remember the last time you negotiated the price of the car, did you go down the list line by line of what amenities were included in the price and ask them to take certain amenities off of the sale so that the price of the vehicle would be less, negotiating the final sale price of the car versus the interest that they were going to apply versus the down payment you were going to have, whether or not you had a trade-in or not? Did you negotiate that, or did you negotiate with them the amount of money per month that you would be okay with paying versus the amount of money per month that they were authorized to allow you to have? Because if you were negotiating the latter, you weren't negotiating the price of the car, you were negotiating how much money you could afford to pay per month. You ask for something closer to $250, they tell you, look, the best we can do is $325 per month as your payment, not how much the car was worth. Think about it. You guys didn't negotiate any down payments. You didn't negotiate any rebates, any discounts, nothing like that. All you negotiated was how much your monthly payments were going to be. They always insist, don't worry about it, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Bro, you got to force them to show you an itemized list of the car, what's it cost, what's included, what comes out of the cost of the car, everything, including taking the decals off the back of it. I don't want the dealership logos on my vehicle at all. That's advertisement for the vehicle, for the dealership. If you're going to have advertisement on my vehicle upon sale, you need to compensate me for advertisement. The whole 9 yards. Y'all need to be negotiating all of that as far as the price. Because when they put Tom Moore Chevrolet on the back of your Chevy and the license plate cover that has the dealership and the dealership's phone number on the license plate cover, that's free advertisement for them. You should be charging them for that when they sell you the car. Hey, take $2,000 off the price of the car to keep that stuff on my car. And then after you buy the car, you peel that shit off. But not too many people do that. Now, the strategic borrowers, what they're going to do is they're going to ask, does this debt put me in a better financial position, or does it just cost me more money? This is going to bring us to the advice, the true advice that you need to pay attention to. Never finance a depreciating asset. On the surface, it makes sense. Why pay interest on something that's going to be worth less tomorrow? But this advice often fails to consider the opportunity cost of your cash. So when you pay, say, $40,000 in cash for a car, that $40,000 is now locked into a piece of metal. You haven't lost it. but you've lost the liquidity, the ability to access that cash easily. So what if a great investment opportunity comes up next month? What if you have a medical emergency? That cash is now in the form of a car. It isn't ready to help. This is going to be like a really interesting paradigm shift, because financially savvy people see cash as a tool for creating more wealth and providing security. So they know liquidity is going to be power. It gives them options and flexibility. It's like if you were driving in Florida and you ended up on a street that has tolls. Back when it was throw coins into the toll thing and keep it pushing, before they started doing a sub pass and taking everybody's license plate and mailing the tickets. If you had cash in the car with you, it was easier for you to go through those tolls. If you had credit cards, no cash, you would be stuck at the toll. You'd have to turn around. You'd have to find a way to safely turn around and go back the way you came, so that you didn't have to pay for the toll. Or hope that the person behind you can throw some change in so that you can get through the toll booth, right? Having cash is powerful for you. Because of this, wealthy individuals are going to be hesitant, more often than not, to part with a big pile of cash for a single purchase, especially when a cheap or free financing option is on the table. So the idea isn't to use 0% financing to buy a fancier car than you can actually afford. That's a trap. This playbook is going to be for people who are already in the position to have the cash to buy the item outright. So you've got $15,000. You might want that $180,000 BMW. You might want that, $75,000 Maserati. You might want that $175,000 Land Rover, and that $15,000 might help you with the down payment towards that vehicle. But you got 15 grand, you can go buy you a Nissan Versa or a Kia Soul or a Toyota Corolla hatchback or something to that effect. Nissan Altima, Nissan Maxima, a Miata, something under 20 grand. You probably buy it cash up front. In that dynamic, instead of running out there getting you a fancy luxury car, you can just go get you an affordable economy car. Buy the economy car outright, or finance the economy car 0% down, because they're talking about 0% down a lot of the times 12 months, right? And with that 0% down for 12 months, you would overpay for the 12 months and pay it off, which benefits you because you didn't give them all the money at once, but you stagger the payments and you get rid of the debt before interest is charged. That's just one way, hypothetically. Now, instead of spending your own money for financially savvy individuals, we would use the bank's money for free. While our cash, the investor, is going to stay with us, okay? And it's ready to be put towards something else. It's a subtle but profound difference in mindset that separates a consumer from an investor. Before we start using the playbook, we have to understand the game. Not all 0% offers are the same. There are two completely different products often sold under the same banner, and confusing them can be very expensive mistakes to be made. The two types are true 0% APR and deferred interest. So let's start with true 0% annual percentage rate, APR. This is the kind of financing that you typically see from financing arms of major car companies like Toyota, Financial Services, or Ford Motor Credit. When they offer 0% APR for 60 months, it usually is a straightforward loan. You borrow the principal, say 40 grand, you pay it back in equal installments over the loan term. A 60-month loan would be $666.67 per month. And at the end, you will have paid back exactly $40,000. No hidden interest is piling up in the background. That's 0% interest. If you make a late payment, you'll likely get hit with a late fee, and consistent late payments could, depending on the contract, cause you to lose the promotional rate. But the loan is typically structured to be fully paid off by the end of the term. And this is going to be a clean, transparent loan, structured, and the primary tool in our playbook, which is what we're looking for, right? Transparent loan structure. That's what we're looking for. Now, let's talk about that deceptive cushion for the alternative style of 0%. It's deferred interest. And I know that we've talked about this with student loans. Subsidized loans are deferred interest versus unsubsidized loans are non-deferred. It's deferred payment, but not deferred interest. You usually are going to see this offer from retail stores on big purchases like furniture, electronics, or appliances outside of subsidized student loans. The marketing language is going to be slightly different, and you have to listen carefully. Instead of 0% APR for 12 months, it will say something like no interest if paid in full within 12 months, right? That little word, if, is the trap that you're not paying attention to. With a deferred interest plan, interest isn't waived, it is just postponed. The credit card company keeps running a tab of the interest that would have been charged from day one, often at a sky-high rate like 25 or 29%. If you pay off every single penny of the original balance before the promotional period ends, that accrued interest is forgiven. It's not applied to your balance. But here's the catch. If you have enough, even a tiny balance, like 50 cents left over when the clock runs out, even just $1, even just one penny, you've broken the if condition. The lender can then, and often will, add all of the retroactive interest into your balance. So imagine you buy a TV, $3,000, on a no interest if paid in full in 18 months deal at Walmart, right? With an underlying interest rate of 28%. You're making your payments, but you miscalculate and you have a $50 balance left over at the end of the 18-month period. The lender doesn't just charge you 28% on the remaining $50. They can go back to the original $3,000 purchase and calculate the months of interest on the amount, which could be over $1,000, and then dump that onto your account. So your $50 mistake could just cost you another $1,000+ on the total amount of your payment. That's the trap. The goal is to rope you into something that they know you can't afford, under the expectation that you're probably not going to pay it off before the promotion is over. These companies know that life happens. People forget, people miscalculate, or just make the minimum payments, which are often deliberately set too low to pay off the balance in time. Because what have you $50 a month payments on $3,000? In the course of 10 months, that's $500. Over the course of 20 months, that's $1,000. You're supposed to be paying $3,000 in the course of 18 months. If you've only paid $1,000, which was the $50 a month minimum balance, over the course of 2 years, you have exceeded these 18 months by 6 months. Not too many people think about that part. Even if you were paying $100 a month, you would have gotten to about $2,400 over the course of 2 years. So to recognize that $3,000 had to be paid off in 18 months, you would likely have to be paying $150 to $200 a month, even though the minimum balance expected to be paid was $50. They do that on purpose. So for the rest of the discussion, when we talk about using 0% financing strategically, we're not talking about deferred interest. We're talking about true 0% APR loans. So when you're trying to apply for a loan and you see 0% APR, you need to read the fine print. The asterisks and then a little wording at the bottom that's too hard to see. Zoom in on your cell phone, zoom in on your computer, find you some reading glasses and zoom in on that to make sure that you are not looking at a deferred interest, that you are looking at a true 0% interest during whatever promotional time that the interest is there. This is going to be where the theory will meet the real. Special shout out to Michael. He says, new bicycle, pedal yourself to work, save money for a used car, 0% financing. Oh, well, you don't technically need a new bicycle. You can always go to a pawn shop and get you a used bicycle for like $25 to $50. You can pedal yourself to work that way. And then if you, instead of dealing with like 0% financing, you don't always have 0% financing. You can go to some buy here, pay here's, and instead of working on shaving off a lot of the price of the car, you can negotiate the interest rates on the car. And that's funny because we don't usually think about that when we go to a used dealership that's buy now, pay now, pay now, or buy now, pay later, buy here, pay here, whatever, however you want to word it, where in-house financing is basically what it is. They never tell you what the interest rates are. They literally talk to you about how much the total balance is going to be on the vehicle, and then how much you're going to put down. That's it. You find out about the interest rates after the fact. They're buying the car from an auction, doing a little something to it, putting it back on the road, usually selling it for double, if not 3 times more what they paid for. Instead of negotiating all of this extra money down and negotiating all of this extra money to be taken off the total price of the car, why not instead negotiate down the interest rates is going to be applied to the car, because it's at their discretion. There's no such thing as a company policy in a buy now, pay later when it's a small mom and pop shop where the owner of the building is negotiating the deal with you right now. So you bought the car from the auction, you're selling the car. We can talk about some interest rates, right? Because when you calculate, let's say a car is $5,000, right? And let's say they slap 20% interest on the car. They want you to pay for it for 2 years. 20% interest is likely going to be about $1,000 worth of interest over the course of every year that the car still owes money on it. So you might end up spending like $7,000 on the car. They can tell you, oh, well, we'll take $2,000 off the price of the car, drop it down from 5 to 3. But I mean, you still put 20% interest down on that, and you're likely going to be spending something closer to $750,000, which means you're still going to be really close to like $5,500. But they're going to want you to put a large down payment down today. Why not say, look, I'll give you the regular $500 or $1,000 down for the car, and instead of you shaving all of this extra money off the top of the car, to drop my interest rates from freaking 20% down to like 8%, right? Which would do you better in the long run. Michael says, no true 0% financing, interest to attached to the payments if not paid within the time amount. Yeah, you're catching up, Michael. We talked about that 30 minutes ago. There is, in fact, true 0% financing, but you have to read the contract to be sure that it is 0% financing. You're recognizing deferred interest in a no interest paid if paid within 6 months or if paid within 18 months kind of situation, which is what we already discussed on the show. You got here a little late. It is not, okay, so interest rates are factored into the monthly payments, and it is usually front loaded where 60 to 80% of the monthly payments in the beginning of a loan is the interest, which is one of the reasons why you negotiate down the interest rates. Because if you negotiate down the interest rates and they say, well, you're going to give me like $250 a paycheck or $250 a month, whatever the case may be, it's like, yeah, that's fine. But if we do that at 8% interest instead of 20% interest, the car is actually cheaper. More money towards the principal and less towards the interest, right? And less of a requirement for a down payment. Otherwise, buying a cash up front might be your best bet. And they will potentially retroactively enforce anything that does not get paid off within the timeline. So let's walk through some of the most common scenarios of buying a new car. So you go to a dealership, you're ready to buy this car listed at $40,000. The manufacturer is running a promotion. You can either take a 0% APR financing for 60 months, or you can get a $3,000 cash rebate. You can't have both. This is a fundamental trade-off. The financing isn't free money in a vacuum. It often comes at the cost of giving up a discount. The question is, which option is the better deal for you? Most people guess, but we're going to do the math. To do this, we need one more piece of information. What interest rate could you get from an outside lender like your own bank or credit union? So let's assume that you have excellent credit. So if your credit sucks, the interest rates will be a lot higher. But based on recent data, for a super prime borrower, excellent credit, above a 620 credit score, you might qualify for a rate of around 5% APR on a new car loan. Now, since you know that, we can compare the two choices. 0% financing in option one, your purchase price is $40,000. The amount financed is $40,000. 0% financing, monthly payments is about $666.67. Total cost you pay is $40,000. Simple and clean. You pay the sticker price over 5 years. Option two, you take $3,000 rebate in financing. Net price, $40,000 minus $3,000, which is $3,700. That amount will be financed by your 5% interest rate that you can get from your own personal bank, not the dealership's bank that's going to charge you even more. The loan term is still going to be 60 months. Using a standard loan calculator, the monthly payments for a $37,000 loan at 5% interest for 60 months is going to be about $698.24, which is about $31 or $32 a month more than 0% financing. Your total payment after 6 months will be about $41,898.40. If we put them side by side, option one, you paid $40,000 for the car. Option two, you paid almost $42,000 for the car. In this case, taking the 0% financing saves you nearly $2,000 over the life of the loan. The free financing was no more valuable than the cash rebate, but this can easily flip. Michael said it's called lost leaders to bring you into spend money. Oh, okay. I have not heard the term lost leaders. I've heard of the bait and switch method or the foot in the door method, where they lead you on like a carrot and stick scenario, where they lead you on with something that you would preferably be enticed by to get you to show up, and then they talk you into the deal, and then they lock you into something that you otherwise don't benefit from. But lost leaders, that's a good concept that I have to look into. But let's flip the script real quick. If the rebate was, say, because we've seen this before, $5,000 down, or if your alternative interest rate was only like 2%, the rebate would be the clear winner, because the rebate would save you more money than the interest rate. The only way to know for sure is to run the numbers every single time. and you would have to run the numbers before you agree to the terms. Now, let's add the savvy playbook layer. Now, remember the strategy for someone who already has the cash for $40,000. By choosing option 1, you have a $667 monthly payment, but you also have $40,000 in cash that you didn't spend. What do you do with the cash? You don't let it sit in a checking account. You put it to work. Special shout out to OG Kicks. OG Kicks says this and that. The best intro on YouTube, and I'm standing on it. I'm not gonna lie. When Valentino Music from Switzerland was making the theme musics for this show, he gave me a choice to pick the genres, and I made it clear that I wanted it to be the distributor's choice, because I would have did something like some country rock or some R&B and soul kind of thing. I would have kind of mixed it up with some like blues, hip hop kind of Motown, whatever, and it kind of would have been like a racially driven historical background kind of theme kind of situation. Guy comes out with rock, metal. I'm sitting over here feeling like a WWE superstar when the music is playing, and I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted. Had I chose, you would have heard the music, seen the host, and said, figures. The music that you listen to now, you don't think, oh, that's what's going to be here. You can sit there rocking out, then you see me and you're like, really? Like, I would not expect one of those people in a mosh pit. I'm not in the mosh pit. I'm off to the side, but I'm close to the stage. I'm not about the stage dive, but, you know. And the lyrics are very motivational, so I really love the lyrics to the show. So everybody on TikTok, if you really want to hear this and that's theme music, we have like 5 tracks on YouTube. You can go over to the YouTube side of thing and take a listen to it. If you just Google this and that theme, you will see we actually have a YouTube playlist specifically for the show. We've got Higher Ground, we've got Elevation Protocols, Non-Negotiables. You know, it's a pretty decent setup. Michael says, I have to go back to work. All of my paintings sold this week. Nice to have a hobby that pays. Oh yeah, it's always good to have a hobby that pays. But I don't understand if you paint. Well, I guess you probably get tired of painting, and then you start doing your sales. But if you paint for a hobby, I don't understand why you don't have like a every week or every month, like just painting stuff for the sake of painting stuff, and just have like thousands of paintings in the house, where like when you run out of wherever you're displaying them at, you can just bring a collection more. If you let them run out and then you got to start paying more, you put yourself under pressure. Even if it's a hobby and you're doing it for money, you put yourself under pressure to perform when you could just like paint every day. Even if it's like a few minutes a day every day, you could just paint every day and then like complete like 1 or 2 paintings a week, or 3 or 4 paintings a month, and just keep putting them out there on a regular basis. Consistency is key. But your retirement, I'm just saying, I automate everything, so that means that a repetitive process occurs. Now, if we're looking at a simple low risk move, when we start talking about what do you do with the $40,000 if you took 0% interest, a simple low risk move is parking it in a high yield savings account. Doesn't produce a lot of interest. High yield savings accounts rates fluctuate, but it is not uncommon to find rates at or above 4%. Right now, that's not possible. They're really close to 3%, 3.5%. But let's say you found one that was offering like 4.15% APR. In the first year alone, your $40,000 could earn approximately $1,660 in interest. Now, you will owe taxes on the earnings, and the principal earnings interest will go down as you make payments, still the principle holds. Your cash is now generating income for you. You are effectively arbitraging the difference between a 0% loan and the rate that you can earn on your cash with your investment. You've turned your car purchase, which is normally just an expense, into a situation where your capital is still working for you. Now, I can go one step higher and say, well, instead of dropping it into a high interest savings account at 14%, what if you dropped it into a brokerage account at 10%? That $40,000 will be giving you $4,000 a year. Still paying taxes on it. Still going to get you some decent quantity of money back. But now you can take that money, because let's think, $667 a month would be upward of $6,667 a year, which would be like $2,000 more than the $4,000 that you would get back at 10%. So you can literally make more money than you owe and start paying it down. This is the mindset. Michael says you paid $12,000 in interest on a loan. Not under the loan the example that we gave, because we said that you borrow money for no interest for the car, then you invested the money for profits. So that $12,000 that you're talking about is actually $12,000 of profit that goes towards your ability to pay off the 0% loan. Special shout out to Raw Logic. He says, buy HPE. I have option calls on them for Wednesday. Doesn't work that way, bro. I would say no. No. You be coming up in here telling people to buy XRP and all this other reckless stuff, and you got worse financial advice than FX Trader. No, don't buy HPE stuff. That's the last thing that you want to do. What value do you have with HPE stock besides the fact that you're trying to get rid of it? So you're trying to convince a bunch of people to buy it. What's the P&E? What's the this quarter's payouts that they have? Is the profit margins that they've got? How long has the company been around? How often have they paid their dividends to their shareholders? Do they even pay dividends to their shareholders? You know, are they a blue chip company? Do they have year-over-year growth? Or you're just telling everybody to buy it because you own it? He said, no, but in June, right before earnings, HPE, it went from 37 to 61. So 3 months ago, it reasonably doubled in value, probably as a growth stock. And the problem that you've got with that, which industry is HPE in? Because we're talking about interest rates, and you dove in and talked about stocks, which is the wrong show. I would say that this topic should be saved for Tuesday, but you're trying to get rid of it for Wednesday. I would assume that I don't even know what industry. I would assume there's tech, but you have to determine, is HPE's increase in share value due to the conflict with the oil prices, or is it something that's stabilized outside of the conflict? Because if that's the case, if they buy it and then the conflict stops, the stock is going to decline. He says there's a pool bag, but now they won their settlement for DOJ in the Jupiter infrastructure. Right now, it trades at 52 and is going to 70. JP Morgan Chase says to buy. Pull back. Okay, so there's a pullback where they reduced their values from 61 down to 52, but JP Morgan is saying to buy because it's projected to perceivably end up at 70. I'll have to do some research on that, guys, and then I'll be able to let you guys know about that tomorrow if that is a reasonably good idea. But I can tell you that out the gate, just because somebody says, "Oh, run over there and go and buy it because I'm selling," nah, nah. If you picked it up at 37 and you're trying to sell it right now while it's at 52, hoping that people are going to buy it on its way up to 70, then you have a covered call on a stock that you're hoping doesn't drop below 37 before you sell it. That doesn't give confidence to the buyers. And then if it is on its way back down where it's projected to eventually end up at 70, if it sells lower, or they buy it lower, or they buy it higher and then it goes lower, then they'll end up losing out simply because like you're like, hey, buy my stock. No, don't buy their stock. He says Wednesday is earnings, but Dell will push them up on Tuesday because on Tuesday it's Dell's earnings. Well, then, if that were hypothetically true, then the best day to buy would be Monday, if it were true. And then since the dividend earnings would be qualifiable, the ex-dividend date would be qualifiable on Wednesday. If that were true, then the next sell date would be Thursday, where you get in there, get your dividends, and get out. You're buying in low on Monday and selling high on Wednesday. But, like I said, I'm going to double check after the show, because today we're talking about interest rates, we're not talking about stocks. Today's not Tuesday. Tuesday we talk about how to make, save, and invest money. Today we're talking about how to navigate 0% financing. When is it beneficial for you and stuff to that effect. So I will, for the sake of, because Sunday is questions and comments from the fans, random questions, random answers, I would look into it and I'll be able to provide you a definitive answer for tomorrow night's show, since you brought it up. He says SMCI did record-breaking sales, so did it Nvidia. So we have the roadmap. We know we're down on HPE are going next week. Well, if that's the road that you're going down, I do know that I talked to you guys earlier this week about Nvidia supposedly doing something with real estate where they're putting nodes in. Special shout out to Jesse Talks. How you doing, Jesse? Nvidia's putting nodes or data centers into single family homes. So I was looking into that, and with that particular type of expansion, they may be having a lot of development and profits from development. So I would look into Nvidia, but like I said, I'm going to look into HPE, and I'll give you guys some information on that tomorrow. So I'll be looking into HPE after today. But today we're talking about interest rates. So we're gonna pause on your discussion about stocks, and we're going to go back to our discussion about interest rates. And then maybe tomorrow we might entertain your discussion about stocks, or on Tuesday when we actually talk about stocks. His last comment that I'll entertain for today is in addressing Nvidia. Nvidia has shown AI infrastructure is still accelerating through their earnings and SMCI's earnings. So next week is good. I still can't verify that because, again, like I said, I was looking at something different earlier this week. I did not see the information that you're telling me, so I'm going to look into it tonight after the show, and then I'll provide you guys with some verified information tomorrow to see what's going on with this. But I appreciate the heads up. Now, as it pertains to the new mindset about 0% interest, it's not just about saving money on purchasing. It's going to be about maximizing what every dollar that you have can do. So taking on a 0% interest rate when you had the money to buy the item cash up front allows for you to put the money somewhere else where the money can make money for you, instead of just putting all your cash towards the purchase. I appreciate that. Hey, look, the whole logic behind it, for our logic is that the topic of the day should be the topic should be the side topics that we talk about. So we're talking about interest rates, and we're not even talking about investing in brokerage accounts. We're talking about interest rates, and then we're talking about the opportunity cost of a brokerage account when you're leveraging the interest, the 0% interest for purchase instead of buying purchase cash up front. So your side topic about interest, well, your side topic about investment opportunities on the you could have invested is kind of a complete strawman topic that's deviating too far away from the main topic. So, you know, with respect to the fact that you're a longstanding member of the show, I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we were straying too far away from the main topic. Michael says deferred interest about 20%. Don't pay the balance off within the time allowed. At that point, all interest is attached from day one, not wise. 1 to 5, don't pay the balance off in time. Yeah, that's what we talked about 40 minutes ago, is that more often than not, there's a miscalculation of payments, or they're only paying the minimum monthly balance, and the minimum monthly balance is not calculated to pay off the entire amount inside of the rebate time, which puts people in the position of having the entire deferred payment applied after the fact. So if you start thinking about maximizing your capital, utilizing a 0% interest, investing the capital into something else so that money can be made for you, now you're thinking like a bank instead of thinking like a borrower. So we've established a critical difference between a true 0% APR loan and a deferred interest promotion. Now let's go deeper into the mechanics of the trap, because this is going to be where people can get into serious financial trouble. Retailers love those promotions because they are incredibly effective at getting people to make a big purchase. The idea of taking home a new sofa or a 75-inch TV today with no interest for 24 months is a powerful psychological nudge, but the terms are designed with a certain failure rate in mind. So let's use a concrete example, like you buy new furniture for $5,000. The store offers a credit card with no interest if paid in full within 24 months. You check the fine print. It's a standard APR that's a massive 29.99%. You don't worry about it because you figure you're good for it. For the next 24 months, invisible interest is occurred in a side account. To avoid paying it, you must pay off the full $5,000 within that 24-month window. This is going to be where it requires monthly payments of $5,000 dividends. So let's look at, it's requiring a different monthly payment. So in order to pay the $5,000 off within 24 months, you will be paying $208.33 a month. That's the least amount of money that you would have to pay to have the entire thing paid off within 24 months. Here's going to be the first trap, though. The minimum monthly payment on your statements might only be $50. Someone not paying close attention might just pay that $50 a month thinking that they're on track. But if you only pay the minimum after 24 months, you would still have a huge balance left over. The moment that 24-month period expires with a balance remaining, the promotional offer can be voided, and the credit card company can then take all of that deferred interest that has been building up since day one and add it to your balance. Suddenly, your remaining balance could balloon by thousands of dollars, and you are now paying 29.99% interest on this new inflated amount. It's a debt spiral triggered by following the lender's own model of minimum payment suggestions. How do you protect yourself from that? You want to spot the language. First, learn to spot that key phrase, if paid in full. Because if you see this, you know that you're dealing with deferred interest, not actual 0% interest. Michael says, buy Walmart according to JP Morgan. I don't know about that neither. So I'm going to have to remember, I'm going to remind myself to go and double check HME, and then also go back and check Walmart and see what's going on with those. In the past, I have not found Walmart as an undervalued stock. So I have not found the golden goose of Walmart stock. But the majority of Americans do buy Walmart products or products from Walmart. So it does make sense to put your money where you invest, or invest your money where you spend your money. And if you spend money at Walmart every month, you should probably invest in Walmart, not because of JP Morgan, but because you should invest where you spend your money. If you spend your money in Starbucks every month, every day, every week, you might want to invest in Starbucks stock. If you invest in iPhones and Apple products on a regular basis, then you should invest in Apple stock. So, because if you had Stash App and they had the Stash card that whenever you make a purchase, it buys stock in whatever store or company that you made a purchase in, if they have publicly traded stocks. If you spend money, let's say you pay your phone bill with your Stash App card, every time you pay your phone bill, it'll buy T-Mobile stock. So under that logic, you're not, if you're going to buy Walmart stock, you're not buying Walmart stock because JP Morgan said so. You're buying Walmart stock because you buy groceries from Walmart every week. That would be why you would buy it. Again, internal validation, not external validation. You don't want to make purchases because other people tell you to. You want to make purchases because it benefits you. Right? So, ladies, those of you that are interested in contraceptives and Plan B and all this other stuff, you probably want to invest in the companies that sell those products. Because every time somebody buys that product, you're going to benefit from it as a shareholder. Now, let's calculate those real payments. I want you to make sure that you're doing that when you're looking at if paid in full. You want to calculate the real payments. Never trust the minimum payment. Divide the total price by the number of months in the promo. Maybe you want to do 1 month less just in case. And the reason why I say doing that, let's say you've got a 24-month promotion. And let's say you divide the money up to a 22-month payout scenario, right? Now, hypothetically, that gives you the ability to miss 2 payments and still pay within the 24-month period. Not a lot of people think about that. You're seriously overpaying on the balance, but you're paying enough on the balance where they will give you a pass on the minimum $50 a month. So if you divide the total price by the promo months period, you will find the actual amount that you need, and anything that you pay over that is guaranteeing that you're paying it off before the promotion ends. You want to pay a little extra, you want to pay early. If you've got automatic bill pay, you want to pay a couple of weeks before automatic bill pay kicks in so that there's always a zero balance when they try to trigger auto pay. Instead of the $208.33 that you would need to pay in order to cover it inside of the 12 months, pay $220. This is going to give you a lot of a buffer. Also, you want to plan to make your final payment in full, a full month before the deadline, to account for any processing delays, because you got to understand, if the account is still active and the balance is not paid off, even if it is at a zero balance pending, when the 24 hours rolls over and you're into the 23rd month, they can still hit you with all this extra stuff. You can try to negotiate it, but if you paid it off in full or paid it in advance, the billing transaction works its magic before the statement is generated, and you don't have to deal with inadvertently getting charged because the account lingered into the 25th month. Automate everything. Set up an automatic transfer from your checking account for the amount that you calculated, not the minimum balance. Do not leave it to memory, because sometimes you can forget. You might charge the same $100 to 2 different items, not have enough money to cover the scenario, and if you, like I said, miss too many payments, you end up voiding the promotion. Deferred interest offers can be used to your advantage the same way 0% financing can, but you have to be extremely disciplined about it. You are walking a high wire, and the penalty for a single misstep is financially severe. So, guys, halfway through the show, if you're finding this breakdown useful and you're starting to see how these financial tools really work, do me a favor and tap that like button, mash those reaction buttons, show support for the channel on TikTok, Twitch, and Twitter, and YouTube. I said that we're not actually airing on Twitter right now. We're on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. That's where we are. Either way, everywhere that you think the show might be, type it into the comment section. You'll find it, and hit the like button, subscribe button, mash reaction buttons, and then go check the membership. Only takes you guys a few seconds, but it lets each one of those platforms algorithm know that the information that we're giving you is valuable information, and it helps the channel reach and empower more people just like you to have more knowledge that is supposed to be common knowledge that aids you guys to make different decisions, not just better decisions, different decisions that directly impacts in a positive fashion the outcome of your objectives. Now, since we understand the landscape, we can assemble the complete playbook. And this is going to be a step-by-step guide for using 0% financing like a savvy investor. So if you're on TikTok, mash those reaction buttons. I want to see a lot of hearts going across the screen. The mindset shift, liquidity is going to be king. This is rule number 1. The mindset shift, because liquidity is king. The entire strategy is going to start right here. I'm trying to not get burnt out. Woo! The goal is not to buy something that you can't afford otherwise. The goal is to preserve the cash that you could have bought the item with so that that cash can be better used for other things that can turn your profit. Cash on hand is your emergency fund, your investment capital, and your negotiation tools. Parting with a lot of it for a depreciating asset should be the last resort, not the first choice. A lot of us run out there and go and get a car because we can barely cover the difference. We got to call a friend. We've got to borrow some money so that we can cover the difference. And it is not bought for what we want it for. Or, well, it's not bought for something that we need. It's bought because, we wish we had it, right? It's a luxury. So this is especially not what we're supposed to be doing when someone will lend you the money for free. You're not trying to get it you're not trying to spend cash as a first resort when you can borrow the money for free. So this playbook is only for the individuals who are purchasing when you already have the ability to make the purchase in full. So taking advantage of a 0% offer when you have the cash to pay the entire balance in full, that benefits you. That is step 1. Rule number 2 is segregated payoff accounts. This is the most critical tactical step. Before you sign any 0% financing agreement, you want to take a full purchase amount. You want to look at that and, let's use our $40,000 car experiment and move it into a separate dedicated high yield savings account. This account does 2 things. First, it is your payoff guarantee because the money is mentally fenced off, but it is already accessible to the payment. Its only job is to pay off the debt, meaning that let's say you borrow 40 grand, you put it in a high interest savings account, and then you have automatic bill pay from that high interest savings account to the bank. The 40 grand is already there, but you're making that $220 a month payment on what was required to be a $208 payment, where the minimum balance that needs to be paid is $50. You're auto moving money from your 40 grand stack to the car payment where you're not paying for it out of pocket. Your broker, your high interest savings account is, and the interest occurred month over month. That increases over time is a profit that you get from the 0% financing promotion. This discipline ensures that you can clear the loan at any time during the loan process, which protects you from the risk. Second, it is your interest guaranteeing injury. Because as we saw with current high yield savings accounts rates, that $40,000 immediately starts earning you money every month. The manufacturer is charging you 0% while you are earning a positive return on the principal. And that spread is going to be your profit, even after taxes. So you're making money on your money while the car sits in your driveway. And the profits from the money making money pays for the monthly payments. He says, Michael says 0% finance. I just get a co-signer, then I don't pay it. Well, that does nothing for you nor the other person. If you finance an item and you don't make the payments, they repo the car or qualify the car for repo. It ruins your credit and it ruins the credit of the co-payer. What they will do is, if they cannot get in contact with you while they're still trying to repossess the car, they will contact your co-signer and try to convince your co-signer to pay for your debt. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people do not like to get to be co-signed on somebody's financial debt, because they do not want to be liable for an asset that they have no personal value. But you still have to pay. They can repo the car and still take legal action against you for the difference. We already covered that in court. And everybody tied to the debt will be in small claims court for the remaining balance on the loan after the asset that was backing the loan gets seized. Whether it's backed by stock market or backed by the value of the vehicle that you're driving, as soon as they collect whatever's left over, that's what you owe. Steven says, I just got access to a high yield savings account as a student that is attached to a very good credit union that I would otherwise not have access to, which is why I told you going to college is a benefit for money, not for book smarts. I said get credit unions, get bank accounts, use the fact that you're a student, bring your student ID to every bank scenario that you go to, apply for student credit cards where they're guaranteed to give it to you, not because of your credit score, but because you are an active student. It would be beneficial. You would have better credit limits if you have better credit scores with lower debt to credit and lower debt to income and on-time payment history. But while you're a college student, you got your credit union for next to your college. You've got the local banks that'll do the same thing. You can get unsecured credit cards for students, preferred credit cards for students, and you can do that at multiple different banks. And a lot of times you don't even have to be a member of the bank. You do have to be a member of the credit union, but a lot of times you don't have to be a member of the bank to get credit cards with good interest rates, which is why we're talking about it as a side topic. See, Steven knows. He knows how to side topic the show because he's talking about interest rates with student credit cards. You can actually get that from different banks, and then you can build with $300 and $500 credit cards, student credit cards. You can build 5, 7, 10 student credit cards that you can utilize to increase your credit availability. And then down the line, consolidate them. And what consolidation does, it's a plus and a minus. But what consolidation does is that if you have like $10,000 or $15,000 worth of credit available over the course of 5, 10, 20 credit cards, they will consolidate all of your lines of credit to one line of credit, which would terminate the other cards. But it would give you a massive line of credit, which then you could utilize down the line, adding more lines of credit by reestablishing cards with other companies. When you're closing out another card, they'll transfer the debt over. That's where the 0% interest rate, the introductory interest rate, comes from. Whatever the balance is on the card that they're forcing closed, they'll take that balance, assume that debt, you pay them for the first 12 months. But now you're their customer, not the other banks or the other credit card company. You have to look at the difference between how it impacts your credit as far as the history span of the credit cards versus the overall credit history. But if you're trying to improve your overall credit score, that's one way to do it. Get a bunch of low level credit cards as a student from a bunch of different banks. Open up a bunch of bank accounts with a bunch of different banks, and then go and get the credit card from each one of those banks. I still recommend that you only apply for 1 or 2 credit cards per 6-month period, which is like 4 credit cards a year. But either way, make it do what it do. Keep them in good standings. Keep them really close to $2 every month, on-time monthly payments, and you will continue to qualify for more credit cards. Michael says, never co-sign for anyone. I wouldn't say never co-sign for anyone. I would say that you need to, the only time that you're co-signing for someone is when you have value in the asset, not when you have value in the person. So let's say, for example, I'm trying to finance a house. You would not mind either renting out this house or living in this house. You co-sign the house for me. If I fail to pay, the house is going to end up being yours because you are a co-owner. You have reasonably equal equity into the asset. Let's say it's a car. You are a co-owner. You have reasonably equal access to the car. If you finance a car, you wouldn't mind seeing yourself driving a car. Your co-owner can't afford to pay the car. You can collect the car from them. You can take over the payments on the car. It's your car because you're a co-owner. But co-signing on an asset, I don't want that house. I don't want that car. I could otherwise care less about that debt. But if you don't pay, that debt becomes my responsibility. That is when you do not co-sign. Michael says, who in their right mind would have 5 to 20 credit cards? That's nuts. Actually, that's not nuts. To be honest with you, they actually encourage people to have 10 different revolving credit cards, not, as you're saying, 3 or 4 credit cards. So 20, actually, usually you have like real estate investment individuals having 20 or more credit cards. Probably 10 or 15 of them from the business, 5 or 10, maybe 15 for their personal use. But they would be personal guarantors on a lot of those business credit cards, like an American Express card. But they would have like $25,000, $50,000 limits on those cards. But it really depends, because if you apply for a credit card, you don't control how much the credit limit will be. They tell you how much the credit limit will be. And if you're getting $250 credit card from Shell, you get a $250 credit card from Chevron, you get a $250 credit card from First Premier, you get a $300 credit card from Discover, you get you get a $500 credit card from GTE, you get a $1,000 credit card from Bank of America. Do you see how this adds up? Now, then you start qualifying for larger lines of credit. You can go to Navy Federal, that might give you $3,000 credit card. You can go to USAA, that might give you a $5,000 credit card. But you still got almost 10 credit cards there that equals $10,000. It's just the first handful of them that you got were low-level credit cards. But each gas company, Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, has credit cards that you can get that has very little requirements. And if you got like over a 620 or 640 credit score, you're almost guaranteed to get it. It's a gas card, but it is a line of credit. You can get a line of credit from Firestone, which is a maintenance card. It's an in-house thing. You can't use it anywhere other than at Firestone, but it is a line of credit that shows up in your credit report. The stuff to that effect, you can get lines of credit from a bunch of different places that you actually utilize it in those places. And those lines of credit, it actually makes sense to have them, and you maintenance them. It makes a lot of sense for you to get them, because the overall total line of credit is 35% of your credit score. So if you've got 20 credit cards, you got 20 lines of revolving credit, and you've got, $10, $15, $20,000 worth of credit cards, and it is all in good standings, you now have 20 accounts, 20 revolving accounts in good standings. If you left $2 on each one of those accounts, you might have, you know, something close to $40 there. Steven says, I will only co-sign for my wife in the situation that I did get married. That would be the only circumstance that I would do it. Yeah, as soon as I get that girlfriend contract signed, followed by the fiance contract, followed by those two contracts being added as an addendum to the prenuptial agreement, where we dictate the terms of my co-signing this car, because legally, if I co-sign the car, I have 50% ownership of the car. So if she wants exclusive ownership of the car, then she would have to reimburse me 100% of my capital investments on the car, and I would have to keep a ledger of how many times I made payments on this car out of my own money. But you're right. I'd finance a car for my wife. I'd finance a car for my kids. If I didn't have the cash to buy the car cash up front, probably would. But I'd be leveraging that finance where my kids would be paying me back with interest, higher interest than what the bank paid me. I would also do some stuff like using my kids' credit by adding them onto my credit cards as a personal guarantor. Not a personal guarantor, an authorized user. That's what it is, authorized user. So if I got 10, 20, 30 credit cards, that's another benefit for having 10, 20, 30 credit cards. You got 3 kids, you can add each one of them to like 5 credit cards as authorized users, where the positive lines of credit benefits their credit score before the kids have any debt, which boosts their credit scores up to 850 before they're 18, which allows them to benefit from high credit cards with low interest rates and low car insurance at 16, which is very important because boys have higher insurance rates than girls, but children have higher interest rates than people over 35. So if the kids have good credit at 15 and 16 years old, not no credit at 15 and 16 years old, their interest rates will be far lower, which saves you money. So there's plenty of reasons why you would do that. Michael says, who asks you? The bank? I don't understand the question. You know, as far as like who's paying for the car, the bank, yeah, the bank or a debt collector will come and ask you like who's paying for the car. Steven says, my friend got a $15,000 limit. She does make about 3 times more than I do though. I have no idea how to do that because the most I can get on a card is $1,750 line of credit. And that's because of an increase. Exactly my point. That's what I was telling Michael. If you can qualify for, let's say you qualify for like a $1,200 or $1,500 line of credit, and through an increase after 6 to 12 months of ownership of the card, you can get yourself up to $1,750. You might have to apply for 10 or 20 $1,000 credit cards, or accept banks and credit unions that will offer you $500 or $750 credit cards. As a student using your student ID, you're more guaranteed to get approved of student lines of credit at every bank and every credit union that offers that. There's no limit to the number of banks or the number of credit unions that will offer you a line of credit. You just have to space out your applications, keep all the cards in good standings, and try to utilize them and pay them off every month so that it shows that there was a balance. And that's why I say like $1 to $2 balance on the card, and you paid it off, so that each one of those cards is showing a revolving balance that is less than 10%. Your credit score will be through the roof. And as a result, when you qualify, you will qualify for higher limits because you have a higher limit. Your friend got the $15,000 limit because she's probably been maintaining $10,000 limits over the course of 5 or 10 cards. You know, so one credit card will offer you 15 grand because you've got a total of 10 grand over the course of 5 or 10 cards. And then because you got 10 grand over the course of 5 or 10 cards, and now you got an 11th card with 15 grand on it, that's $25,000. If your credit score crosses over a 750, American Express will hit you with a $25,000 or $50,000 line of credit on that alone, which doubles your ability because you went from 25 grand to 75 grand. And this is the reason why you would compound credit cards. Michael's not used to this because he's from the generation before internet where that didn't make any sense. Cash was king back then. Credit is king right now. Michael says, just get a black card or a platinum card with unlimited spending. Oops, that's only if you're making $5 million per year. It actually doesn't require you to make $5 million a year specifically. It requires you to have a good spending habit. It requires you to have an 800 or an 850 credit score. And it requires you to have a high spending, which means like if you were running a small business, you could be rolling over like $15,000 a month into your credit card, and you might qualify for a black card. Platinum cards are not the same as black cards. Black cards are unlimited spending with American Express. A platinum card is for poor people to feel privileged. But what it is, the whole platinum card platform is the lowest tier of credit card. Because when you go look at even at American Express, one of the top tier credit card companies in credit, you're looking at platinum, silver, gold. Why is platinum lower than silver? Why is platinum lower than American Express Blue? Why is platinum lower than freaking green, for Christ's sake? Because it means poor. Platinum means poor in the credit card area. People don't think about that. Remember to like and subscribe and mash those reaction buttons. Because every bank would love to give you a credit card. They would. But they're doing it because every bank that gives you a credit card believes that you're going to max out that credit card and you're going to owe them money. But every bank loves to give students even more lines of credit than they give non-students, because students are more high risk to spending money because they're students. So take advantage of that because you're a student. Now, rule number 3, as what we were talking about before, make sure that you automate and verify discipline. You want to automate and verify what you're doing, but discipline is going to be a great scenario here. And human memory is very faulty. You know, I tell people a lot of times that I have the memory of a half-dead elephant, and my half is the dead half. And half the time, I don't remember what I need to remember. Short-term memory is shot to hell. Long-term memory is good, right? So the moment that you take on a loan, you want to set up automatic monthly payments from your bank account to cover that loan. This prevents any late payments. You always want to have the automatic bill pay set up days before the payment is due. That way you can guarantee that it clears their bank long before they're required to take the money from you, which can come with fees and or penalties if you end up getting these things late. So you want to make sure that it is on time or early. Second, you want to set a calendar reminder for 1 month before the loan's final payment due, which means that you want to either average out an overpayment option or set yourself up for a mass final payment the month before the last payment date. This is going to be your final checkup. You'll verify the remaining balance, make sure that the loan is paid off completely and ahead of schedule. For a deferred interest offer, this step is non-negotiable because it allows you to pay the entire balance off without having 1 penny of interest applied to your account. Rule number 4, the advance move, strategic leverage. This is going to be where the principal gets bigger than your car purchases. The core idea, using low-cost debt to preserve liquidity, which is a cornerstone of building wealth. Consider real estate. An investor might want to buy a $1 million property. They could pay for it in cash, but that ties up $1 million for the life of the property. Instead, they might put down 25% or $250,000, then get a mortgage for the other $750,000. Now they control the $1 million asset with a fraction of the cash. Their remaining $750,000 stays liquid, ready to be invested elsewhere. If the property appreciates in value by 10% a year, their $250,000 investment has generated a $100,000 gain on paper, which is a 40% return on their initial investment. Of course, This ignores costs like mortgage interest, taxes, maintenance, and it's crucial to remember that leverage magnifies losses just as much as gains. But in the same logic as our car example, just on a large scale, some billionaires use similar strategies, borrowing against their stock portfolios to generate cash without selling assets and triggering huge capital gains tax. This isn't without risk. These loans have variable interest rates and are subject to mortgage calls if the stock value drops, which could force a sale at the worst possible times. But it demonstrates the principle: using debt as a tool to keep your primary asset intact. If, for example, you had a brokerage account with $100,000 in it, you wanted to buy a brand new car for $25,000. You could you could borrow against your portfolio $50,000, which is half of your portfolio. Then, out of $50,000, you can buy, if you wanted to, you could buy the car cash up front. Now, what's the difference between buying the car cash up front after not mortgaging, but leveraging your assets towards a line of credit on your brokerage account versus getting the 0% APR on the car and then making the payments on the car? Well, if you got the 0% interest on the car, you leverage 50 grand, you put the 50 grand into your brokerage account to increase the share values that you have. If you were getting paid 10% return on your brokerage account on average, instead of getting $10,000 a year off of $100,000, you'd be getting $15,000 a year off of $150,000. If you still got the 0% interest rates on, what would we say, a $25,000 car, you would likely be paying about $150,000 to $200,000. Well, $100 to $200 a month, which would likely be something close to $2,000 to $5,000 a year, as long as the annual monthly payments on the car is equal to or less than the annual profit dividend distribution from the brokerage account. You could borrow against the brokerage account, reinvest it into the principal of the brokerage account, sign up for the 0% interest rate, and then take all of the profits from your portfolio and put it on your interest rates, which, because you have way more money in your portfolio, then the stock market will shift. You're not going to have to worry about a margin call, and you can allow the portfolio to pay for the car and then take some of the money off the portfolio and pay for the portfolio. This keeps your principal intact while paying off the asset. It also keeps you in a position where your money is making more money for you, where you're not losing as much on the cost of the car. Steven says, what if you pull a loan against your brokerage account and they call the loan unexpectedly? I don't think that would be in a person's favor to do without a backup plan. Selling is never an option. Okay, I was just talking about that, so that's a good question. The purpose of not over borrowing against your portfolio is how you prevent from doing that, or at least reduce the risk of that. So say, for example, we were investing in real estate investment trust, and our real estate investment trust depreciated in value by about 75 cents a share, which was about 20% decline on the total price of the portfolio. If we only borrowed 40 or 50% of the value, we would have probably borrowed about $1.50 a share on our portfolio. If it went from and we're talking about like stocks like Prospect Capital, it's like $2. Prospect Capital started at $3 a share and is now at like $2.25 or $2.30 right now, $2.50 a share. And Ellington was anywhere between $5 and $4.55, and right now it's anywhere between $4.55 and $5. It's still right about the same. It only had like a 5 or 20% dip. It only a few pennies per share off of the thing. So if you understand that it's already at its pretty much bare minimum right now, they cut dividends before they cut share prices, right? So if you're looking at your stocks, only lost like maybe 10 or 15 cents a share, but you only borrowed $1.50 per share off of that $2.50. If it drops 20 cents a share, it's not going to do a margin call. But let's say what happens if you did borrow 80% or 100% of your portfolio, and it did do that dip, and it did do a margin. It would just sell all of your stocks to pay off the loan. And if there was anything left over that you still owed, you would have to pay that too. It would not benefit a person. Selling the stocks are not supposed to be an option, but when you over borrow, that makes it a mandatory requirement. But that's why I tell you, like, I've recommended on the safe side 40%, but not more than 50%. So if you have a $100,000 or $150,000, and this is going to be one of the reasons why some of the wealthy individuals tell you do not purchase an item if you don't have 3 to 10 times more than the cost of that item. They're coming from the perspective of their brokerage account. If you want a $20,000 car, $100,000 is 5 times more than the value of that car. $200,000 is 10 times the value of that car. The dividends from that type of portfolio at 10% return could buy the car. If you leveraged against your portfolio, you could leverage $40,000 towards your $20,000 car purchase, and that $40,000 out of $200,000 is still less than 50%, not even 50%, it's less than 25% of the value of the portfolio. If for any reason the portfolio was to tank and it was to go down 30%, 40%, you're nowhere near 50%. If it touched 50%, you're at 25%. You're not going to experience a margin call. That's why they say that. So instead of getting you a Resvani tank at $500,000 for the car because you have $500,000 in your brokerage account, you go and get you a reliable Nissan Versa that's a manual shift car, so that you've got the base model $8,000 to $10,000 car, might be these days worth like $11,000 or $12,000, and you just buy a car for 15 grand with a $100,000 brokerage account that you can borrow 20 grand towards. You buy the car for 15 grand with $5,000 left over, and that is 20% of your portfolio, not 50% of your portfolio. So with the stock market potentially going back up coming soon, it's not likely that you're going to experience a 70% loss unless you bought some really bad stocks. And if you're grabbing the stocks that I was telling you guys to grab, that is not the case. Your stocks are growing month over month. But if you didn't want to leverage your brokerage account, you could get a cash loan. You could deal with the 0% return. There's a lot of different ways that you can get it. For those of you that are getting student loans from your school and you're getting cash given to you from your school as a refund, and you take that $3,000 and buy you a cash car up front where you don't have to make payments on the cash car. There's other ways that you can go about avoiding that. That way you don't have to worry about taking the loss. He said the stock market needs to chill out so I can buy in more. The stock market should, right now, volatility is what is the reason why you should be buying in. You should be buying in because of the volatility. As the prices go down, you are buying these prices at the lowest. You will see it for the remainder of your life. Donald Trump will only be in office for so long. As long as he is in office, the market will be volatile. While everything is low, you want to buy as much as you can. He said it himself. Buy it as much as you can. Because as soon as he gets out of office, whether it's 2 years from now or 6 years from now, as soon as he gets out of office and the next person that comes in is not nearly as volatile as he is, the market will stabilize in a fashion where all of these volatile, undervalued stocks are going to skyrocket. You're going to receive dividend growth and you're going to receive share value growth. Even if you don't sell on the share value, you're going to have a massive improvement on your portfolio on both sides. So you don't want to wait until things get better. You want to buy in while things suck. While it is in a barren market, while it is in a depreciating value, you want to buy in, buy in, buy in, buy in. When it becomes a bullish market, dollar cost average, continue to buy in. but you're buying less of the more expensive stuff in a bullish market than what you will be buying in a bear market. All right. Now, while the playbook is going to be very powerful, the real world has its pitfalls. So when you're at the dealership or at a realtor store, you need to be on guard. So here's going to be some red flags that you guys need to watch for. When you're about to buy something, you're trying to finance something, this is what you need to pay attention to. The what's your monthly payment question is a huge red flag. This is a classic trap because the moment that you give them a monthly payment number, you lose all control over negotiating the deal. They can pack all sorts of expenses and add-ons, extended warranties, paint protection, all of this into the loan. And as long as they hit your monthly number, you might not even notice the total price has been inflated by thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. The fix here is never give them a monthly payment. Negotiate the out the door price of the car first. Get that number in writing. Then you can talk about finance. Tell them, let's agree on the price of the car first, and then I'll discuss how I'm paying. You're not even trying to discuss the down payment. You're not trying to discuss the trade-in. You want to know how much is the car going to be sold at first. Again, you're looking at the next thing. Any discounts or rebates. They're going to have a lot more things to offer you on financing as opposed to cash up front. If you're buying a car cash up front, they're not really going to offer you the $3,000 down or the $5,000 off or whatever the case may be more often than not, unless they're really trying to get rid of the vehicle. So if they do have those rebates and those offers are going to be contingent to you financing the vehicle. So if they ask you, well, we can't really give you a final number unless we know whether or not you're buying cash up front or you're financing, then your response is, well, print out the numbers for both options and then I'll decide. My ability to pay cash up front versus my decision to finance is going to be based on first us agreeing on the final out the door cost of the car versus how the interest rates work versus cash up front. What offers you're giving me with down payments, deferment, or anything to that effect versus rebates, discounts, and other such stuff. So, red flag number 2, the add-on pressure cooker. Once you're in that financing office, the second wave is going to begin. This is going to be where they sell high profit products like gap insurance, which covers the difference between what your car is worth and what you owe if the car is totaled. While gap insurance can be very useful, the policies sold at the dealership are often much more expensive than what you can get from your own auto insurer. If you already have your own insurance and the insurance is not being provided by the dealership, you just want to add gap insurance to your own personal policy. The fix here, be prepared to decline the add-ons in the finance office. You can almost always look into them later. And during the time that they're talking to you, this is going to be another thing I'm going to tell you. Go to the dealership in the morning. Don't go to the dealership in the afternoon. Don't make yourself one of the last customers that you talk to at the end of the day. You go to the dealership in the morning. And the reason why you want to go to the dealership in the morning is because during business hours, you can contact your insurance company that you already have for the car that you drove in with, and you can discuss any policy changes and policy premiums that they can offer that would aid you in your ability to purchase the car. You're going to negotiate. You're not just negotiating with the dealership, you're negotiating with your insurance company. You're also going there pre-qualified from your bank. So you should have interest rates on the payments of your vehicle from your bank. You don't want to get qualified for a lender from the dealership because they're going to run 5 or 7 different lenders to determine if anybody will provide you with rates, and they'll give you 3 different options, and whichever one has a low enough interest rate to meet your note qualifications, that's going to be the one that's going to hit you with it, right? So call your insurance agency, ask for some quotes on gap coverage. It's often going to be a fraction of the price that the dealership is offering. And since you're a member of your insurance policy for an extended period of time, you're just adding a vehicle or changing over vehicles. The fact is that your overall payments are going to be far less with a currently existing policy than what it would be for a new policy. The same is going to go for many extended warranties. I did tell you guys, depending on the kind of extended warranty that you're going to get, you might benefit from it if you look at the number of times it gets used over the cost that it would do for you to do it individually versus the total price. Let's say, for example, if it's including tune-ups and oil changes and tire replacement, and let's say it's going to be an extra $3,500 over the course of the warranty. Well, if the tire changes and oil changes and tune-ups are going to be something closer to $6,000 to $8,000 over the entirety of the warranty, it pays for itself. I got a warranty on a property where I'm spending $6,000 over the course of 2 years on the warranty for $15,000 worth of coverage. I'm going to use all of it. I'm taking claims on everything, so that by the time I finish paying the $6,000, I got $15,000 worth of stuff done. That's how that works. Red flag number 3, confusion over the rebate versus 0% choice. You're often going to have to choose between a rebate and a 0% APR. They're not going to give you both. A finance manager might gloss over this or present the numbers in a confusing way to steer you towards the option that makes them the most money. The fix here: come prepared. Before you go to the dealership, you want to check your manufacturer's website for current offers. Use an online loan calculator to run the numbers yourself. You should walk in knowing exactly which options is better for you. You should do your own research, and actually, instead of them selling you on a car like they used to do 40, 50 years ago, convince you to buy the car, you should already walk on a dealership with more knowledge about the vehicle you're trying to buy than the dealer trying to sell it. Which means that the conversation you're having with the dealer is really more to the magnitude of the dealer showing you that they know what the product is that they're trying to sell. Because otherwise, they would be wasting your time. The person that gets my commission knows what I'm about to buy, knows everything about what I'm about to buy. So if you don't know your inventory, let me talk to somebody else. And if you don't know the specials, let me talk to somebody else. Red flag number 4, short loan terms on 0% deals sometimes, and 0% offers is still only available for a short term, like 36 or 48 months. A $40,000 loan over 36 months is over $1,100 a month. This can make the offer seem attractive while disqualifying many people who can't handle the high monthly payments. If you ask for a 6-year or 7-year loan, you may no longer qualify for the 0%. The fix here: make sure that the monthly payments after the fact, after you've verified the total cost of the vehicle, even at the 0% rate, fits comfortably into your budget. So if you want that $500 a month, make sure that it's $500. If you want that $250, make sure it's $250. But if you can't get it to $250 without getting a cheaper car, get a cheaper car. If the payments are going to end up being too high, the stress might not be worth the savings, because it could be better to take a longer term loan at a low interest rate to keep your monthly payments manageable instead of getting a higher monthly payment for no interest rate. Now, we've covered a lot, so let's distill it into simple checklists. Before you say yes to a 0% finance offer, you must be able to answer yes to all of these questions at the same time. Was I going to buy this anyway with cash I have right now? The answer is no, don't get it. This is the gatekeeper. If the answer is no, stop, don't get it. A 0% offer is a payment method, not a reason to buy something that you don't need or can't truly afford. Question number 2, do you have the full cash amount ready to put in a separate payoff account? This is your safety net. Having the cash in a dedicated account proves that you can afford the item and ensures that you can pay off the loan no matter what. Question number 3, I have done the math to confirm the 0% offer is truly the cheapest offer. Did you do this? Yes or no? If you've done the research and you know that this is the best option for you, get it. This is a situation where you must choose between 0% or rebate. You've got to compare the total cost of both scenarios, the end price, not just the monthly payments. Only proceed if the 0% interest and the note payment is the clear winner. Question number 4, is this a true 0% APR loan or is it a deferred interest promotion? Because you have to know what you're signing. Look for the if paid in full language that signals a deferred interest trap. If it is a deferred deal, you must be 100% confident that you can pay it off long before the deadline. Question number 5, do I have a plan for what this cash will be doing for me instead of paying on this card? This is going to be the final mindset check. Before you go buy the car, you got to have a plan for the cash that wasn't going towards the car. Do you see value in keeping your cash liquid? Do you have a plan for the money, even if it's just earning interest in a high yield savings account? This confirms that you're actively using your capital for a positive return. You're looking at opportunity cost benefits. Okay, that's what you're trying to accomplish. If you check the box on all 5 questions, you are not just a consumer, you are an investor executing a strategy. Now, for years, the conventional wisdom has been simple. Debt is bad, cash is good. But the financial world is more nuanced than that. The key isn't just to avoid debt, but to understand it and know when to use it to your advantage. 0% financing is the perfect example for many, and it's a marketing gimmick to tempt them into overspending. Or for an informed, disciplined person, it's a strategic tool. It's a lever that lets you preserve your liquidity while using a lender's money at no cost to you. The difference is a shift in perspective. And you're going to shift from the consumer mindset of how can I buy this to the investor mindset of how does this purchase fit into my overall financial strategy? It's about having the cash, but choosing to finance anyway. It's about taking that cash and putting it to work for you. It's about knowing the crucial difference between a true 0% APR loan and a deferred interest trap. And it's going to be about having the discipline to follow the rules. Shut up. We're almost done. This isn't some secret of the ultra rich. It's going to be a playbook based on financial disciplines, principles that anyone can apply. But boy, if you don't sit down, shut up. They'll be over there arguing with you. I'm trying to finish my show. Go sit down. Look, tell everybody bye-bye. We almost done. Look at them. Look at them while we wrap up the show. By using these methods, it allows you to stop being a passive consumer and start becoming an active strategist. The next time that you see 0% financing available, instead of signing, you won't just see the temptation, you will see the opportunity. And then you're going to know exactly what to do before you go and sign the contracts. Now, if tonight's video changed how you think about financing, changed about how you think about credit cards, things how you think about loans, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Hit those notification bells if you haven't done so already. Mash those reaction buttons every time you come to the show. Pay attention to the fact that we're going to be here at about 11:30, 11:45 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, because we release we're going live every night of the week, and we break down the strategies that you need to build real lasting wealth. And you need to check out tomorrow's show. And I'm going to be honest with you, we're going to be breaking down some common financial products that most people misuse in upcoming shows. But one of the things that I'm going to try to do after tonight's show, before tomorrow's show, is double check what Raw Logic was mentioning about some stock options that he was thinking about, and Michael mentioning buying stock in Walmart, and we'll see what's going on. I think I have Walmart stock in Stash App because it was a stock party. We had got some Walmart stock, and it's down right now. So I'm going to double check on what you guys are talking about when they say and down right now doesn't mean that it was a bad buy. Down right now means that it might be hot. You know, it might be like invest in it now because Walmart stock is down, but Walmart stock will be going up soon, kind of thing. So I'm going to go double check and give you guys some insight on that. And for the members, you guys are going to get that information first about each one of the stocks we were talking about. So if you guys are in a membership, you guys will see like the whole breakdown of each one of the stocks I'm looking into, and what the projections are for those stocks, and whether or not I believe that overall it's a good idea for you guys to move forward on. And then you guys cross-reference my information with the information that you guys get when you guys do your own research. So that's all I got for you guys for tonight. We're going to start off by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. I appreciate the light, Skull. I appreciate you for coming in. We're going to go ahead and say thank you for coming to the show. Special shout out to Michael, Steven, FX Trader, Aztec, Joe, Jack, Bra Logic, Jesse Talks Truth. I think I said OG Kicks. And then Omni81, Red Void, Danny Steffen over on the Twitch side of things. I really appreciate you guys for coming to the show. We're still working on this stream key. I don't know what's going on with these guys, but I'm going to try to reach out to technical support and see if I can get one. I did do a survey where they asked me if what did I think about the community thing that they got set up there. And I'm like, well, I can't get a stream key, so I kind of need technical support because I really need that. Because right now I'm spread across multiple devices because I can't stream in one location because I don't have a stream key from TikTok. But I'm going to wait and see what technical support tells me. But as soon as we can get that stream key, we'll let you guys know. So stay tuned with that. We've been working on it for a while, but, you know, you got to have patience. So, yeah. Normally I tell you guys, you know, I give you guys this information to make you guys higher value individuals because I'm trying to help you guys not only improve your financial life, but I'm also trying to help you guys improve your decision-making skills. I also tell you guys, ladies, it's a male-driven podcast from a male's perspective, so you can also make yourselves higher value individuals by finding the things that are inside of your control and then proactively putting forth the effort to improve that. Especially if you're working on the things that you don't like, then navigating around things that are outside of your control. And then I tell you guys again on a regular basis, ladies and gentlemen, to make sure that you guys pay attention to your 20 and 30-year plan, reverse engineer that into what you need to do today so that you can conquer your 20 and 30-year plans. But ladies, I tell y'all to pay attention to the potential suitors that has the right personality, characteristics, drive, ambition, dedication, motivation, admiration, and integrity to accomplish his goals. See how your goals meshes with his goals, because long-term satisfaction can aid you both into helping each other accomplish your goals. It is important to pay attention that you have a partner with long-term satisfaction, not short-term gratification, because anybody who's spending money in the now is taking money away from the future. I give you guys information every day of the week about how two people can make it to $1 million faster than one. And it really requires you guys to both have similar financial values, right? And that's what's really important. So you need to be paying attention to your partner's mindset, not their wallet, ladies. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Sander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.